How's it going, guys? Howchi Nation here, and today I'm showing you guys how to increase your FPS in Fortnite.
Sorry, shawty, but I had to crash the Honda. Pull up with a chopper. Ain't no one gonna stop.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Nigga play with me, play with shawty, he gon' die. She gon' hit a lick, nigga, just to get by. Remember I was broke, she was still by my side.
So the first thing you want to do to start off the tutorial, I guess, is go into your settings, in your Fortnite thing on PC, obviously, because you can't really do this on console or anything. So go in here and find the verify option, and then in the verify option, click on that. We just want to do this to make sure all your files are verified and that you don't have any corrupted files, because if you do, none of these things will work and you'll just be stuck with corrupted files that don't work. What you're going to want to do is make sure all your files are legit and verify them, and once they're verified, you'll for sure know that it's not the actual files that are causing the FPS to drop. It's your actual hardware, but just to be safe, you're gonna get this out of the way and verify all the files. It might take a while depending on your computer. It shouldn't take that long, but once you finish it, just open up Fortnite and we'll talk about the actual settings, like the graphic settings. Now for the graphic settings, this mainly depends on your type of computer you have. You could be on a laptop, and there may be others of you that are on an actual gaming PC. So these settings might fluctuate between different types of PCs out there, but for now we're just going to show you guys the FPS. Right now you can see I'm getting 120 130 FPS right now with my settings, I think at max. Max epic right now. So in the settings, you're going to want to change your frame rate limit to unlimited, because you don't want to be limited to any amount of frames. And then make sure the number one thing that VSync is off, motion blur is off, and then show FPS could be either on or off. That doesn't really matter. But view distance, in my opinion, should always be on epics, so you're not at a disadvantage. Shadows should be off, textures off, or low, and effects low. The rest of them should be low. And as you can see, the game doesn't look that bad, and I'm getting 300 frames per second, so that's almost like 100% boost, 100 FPS boost. And then once you turn off anti-aliasing, it drastically increases your FPS, but it also drastically makes your game look a little bit more uglier. As you guys can see with the edgy lines, the lines aren't as smooth, but you could always put that on medium or maybe high, just test out the different settings and see which one you prefer, because obviously 400 500 frames, you don't really need that for a game like Fortnite. So you can get high FPS and get a good looking game at the same time. But if none of those things work and you're still running on a potato, you're going to want to switch that 3D resolution to 1280 by 720, and that for sure is going to help you get a lot of FPS. It's still going to be HD, but it's not going to be 1080p HD. It's going to be 720p HD. So that's something to take into account. But for me, I just like to keep everything on epic because I like how the game looks, and my FPS is still pretty decent. It's at 130, So I'm just putting back everything on epic, just because I like how the game looks. And you can see with the anti-aliasing on the max, the characters' edges aren't as jaggedy as they used to be with the anti-aliasing off, like I showed you guys earlier. So after that, we're gonna get into the more technical stuff. So just quit the game and we're gonna get into the more technical stuff, such as your whole graphics card thing. So the first thing you want to do is, especially if you have an NVIDIA card such as me, any of these that you see on screen, GTX 950, 7 series, the 10 series, and now the 20 series. But anyway, you're probably gonna have this driver software, which is the GeForce Experience. You can record gameplay on this too as well. But anyway, you're gonna want to click on it and then go onto the drivers. And if you don't have this, you could easily just download it searching up GeForce Experience, but check for updates, because these drivers are the things that drive your whole graphics card. So if your graphics card isn't updated up to date, it's gonna obviously drop you a lot of frames. I've had times where I haven't updated my drivers and my games have actually been lagging or even crashing. But this program has a cool option where it has an optimized setting. So as you can see, I just optimized the game, which is the most optimal I guess you can get the game to be. And now it has a check mark because it's optimized. I have all my games mainly optimized because the optimization thing is really good and it really increases the FPS and makes the game be in between a balance of looking good and having high FPS. And then the next thing, another software you could use is MSI Afterburner. This is basically overclocking your graphics card. Some of you guys might be on a laptop and might not have a graphics card, so you might not be able to do this, but some of you guys on a actual case PC might have a graphics card. No matter what, you can still overclock it. But the number one thing I would recommend is turning the power limit to 100% and the temperature up to 100%, or whatever the max is depending on your graphics card, and turn up the fan to 100%. because by doing this, your graphics card automatically overclocks itself if it's at a low enough temperature, and having the fan up high will, you know, make it a low temperature, and it will basically make it overclock itself. It will overclock itself, but you can go even further beyond and overclock it yourself manually. I would recommend doing something small, like 50 on each side, the core clock and the memory clock, you know, doing something small. And for overclocking, it's not really, I'm not going to go too much in depth in this video, but you know, you can search up other videos, or I might upload one later showing you guys how to overclock your graphics card. But I would recommend search up a video on YouTube, especially for your specific graphics card. There could be like presets out there explaining like what's a good base overclock for your graphics card. But for sure, do not just start messing with this and raising it all the way up to 100, because you will fry your graphics card or will shorten the life of it. But by doing this, you will for sure get a lot more FPS, at least 50 FPS. And overclocking your graphics card, many people get scared of because they think they're gonna fry it, like I just said. But the thing is that companies already overclock it, they just don't tell you. That's the only way they make the graphics cards faster, is by overclocking them. But they come in a stable overclock out of the box. But yeah, I don't want to get too much in depth into overclocking your graphics card. But not only overclocking your graphics card, but your CPU can also be overclocked. I would just recommend turning up your fans in your CPU as well, because your CPU has the same type of functionality where if it's cold enough, it will boost itself. Many Intel CPUs come with a boost clock that will boost the frequency of the CPU, and that's like the number one thing that will help you get more FPS is boosting the CPU and the GPU. And the safest way you guys can do that is by, you know, turning up fans, making your overall PC a lot cooler. You can even do this on the laptop, because I'm 100% sure laptops have boost clocks for the CPU as well. Your laptop might not come with a graphics card, but it for sure comes with the CPU, because all computers do. I would really recommend just overall cooling down your system so it can basically boost itself, because it's at a cold enough temperature. It can see that it can safely boost itself, and by doing that, you should get a lot more FPS. So as you guys can see on the screen, you can see that many of the CPUs nowadays have a separate base clock and boost clock. So like I said, once the CPU or graphics card reaches a low enough temperature, it will see that it is safe enough to boost itself, and in turn making more either speed or frequency go up, which in turn makes your FPS go up higher and your PC perform overall more better. So it's pretty easy to search up your CPU's boost clock if it does have one. Like I said, some APUs don't come with boost clocks because, you know, they're integrated graphics into the CPU, but it's pretty easy to search that up. You search up your own CPU. For example, mine is the Ryzen 1600X. You guys could see in the video that once I turned up the fans, it cooled down a bit, but it also depends on your CPU usage. Now, to make your PC cooler, you could either turn up the fans, or if you don't have enough fans, you can just easily put some in, either 120s or 140 millimeters. I have a video on that on my channel from like a long time ago, showing you guys how to put the fans inside. It's really easy. I would really recommend getting an intake fan to bring in cold air, because having your PC too hot can cause it to thermal throttle as well, which is actually the opposite of boosting itself. It will actually underclock itself, make itself slower so it doesn't exert too much heat and burn itself up, you know. So if you've ever noticed that your FPS drops all of a sudden after playing for a long time, it's probably because your PC is running a bit too hot, and either the CPU or the graphics card is thermal throttling and basically underclocking itself, making itself slower. So hope you guys found this video somewhat helpful. I hope you guys learned something about boosting up your frames, you know. I know I went a little bit more longer than I should, and I added some extra stuff in there that I shouldn't have, but you know, if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys liked the video. Like, comment, subscribe for more awesome content from me, How To Nation. And until next time, How To Nation out.